Hi, and welcome to Cat Run Figures. I'm your host, Caitlin, and today we're going to be reviewing Justice League issue 12. So, this is Justice League's first tie-in to Justice League versus Suicide Squad. However, it is a Maxwell Lord Rebirth issue. And I gotta tell you, this is probably the best single issue of Justice League we've had in Rebirth. I mean, everyone knows that Justice League stories kind of been just spinning its wheels and hanging out, but Justice League versus Suicide Squad has been a really great story so far, and this definitely did not disappoint. So, getting right on into the story, we get to see Maxwell Lord being held by Amanda Waller, and he's being questioned about an incident where Checkmate took down a train that was transferring a number of prisoners, and basically Max decides to blame it all on Task Force X, basically saying that they have a number of villains just running about doing whatever. The least Amanda Waller could do is be out front with them or mark her members for some reason, some way she could mark them. And yeah, Max makes the misstep of laying a hand on Amanda Waller. You do not grab Amanda Waller's arm, or else she will knock your ass out. As we see here, wapow. She knocked his ass out. Then we get to see Deadshot ask if she'd like him to get a bullet behind an ear, or instead she decides to take him in for questioning and goes through his history. We get to see a bit about his rise to power in different agencies, and probably the best part of this entire story is his relationship with his mother and kind of how fucked up she is. We get to find out a little bit more about his home life, where his father owned a very prominent company that had a weight loss medication that in fact actually caused people to develop cancer. So at his funeral, it's kind of bad because his mom tells him that they're going to cry, they're gonna hold hands, and they're gonna get over this. And then come tomorrow, there's going to be no pampering, no more weakness, no more headaches, no more bloody noses and hearing voices, Max. That he now needs to find his own voice and decide to be nothing like his cowardly, pathetic father. And I love it. She's going through and she's talking about the weaknesses of Max's father. And this is actually at his funeral. She pulls a white rose off of the casket and she starts to pull the petals off, and she's discussing that when people go into power that don't deserve it, they need to have that power plucked from them. And she plucks off each petal of the rose, and you have to do this until there is nothing left. Now that is something that is going to go on later on in the story, so for that, just keep that in mind. But then we get back into him going through various different task force and teams. But we talk about how he rose to power in Checkmate and how he basically convinced his older leader that it was time for him to end it all. So he died as a result of a mission where he literally just ran into enemy fire. And then they go through and they discuss how he's taken down a number of heads of different organizations have either left their positions or been taken down. And Amanda Waller's relating this all back to him, like in some way he has the power to cause this. Keep that in mind. She also talks about the timeline with Justice League War, where all of the issues with Metropolis and the parademons, and the fact that Maxwell Lord tried to get Checkmate to get all of the contracts for it. He actually wanted to fight Justice League just as much as he wanted to fight all of these parademons. And I love the fact that it's actually Amanda Waller and Steve Trevor that say they're the only ones that can save us. So we get this great panel right there. It's a great throwback into the old New 52 timelines. And we keep going on. And then we get into Maxwell Lord and his power. And he starts to ask Amanda Waller some questions, starting with, where are you keeping the lost prisoners? And she tells him right away, the Catacombs Prison, Death Valley. And he then starts to ask her about the item and where it still is, where it's located. She then breaks his power concentration and decides to start strangling him, asking if he's some kind of telepath. Well, then he kicks her away. A few armed guards rush in, of course, and he uses his powers on them, actually getting them to hand their gun over to him, and he walks out with the guards, stating if anyone follows, that they will both die. Probably the best part about this is he says, for one glorious moment, I got to be the man who took control from Amanda Waller. That is fucking awesome. And I love, you can just see the pure hatred in her eyes. Maxwell Lord literally is probably the biggest badass in DC at that moment. Just when he said that one line, I gotta say, I kind of love Maxwell Lord now. But it continues on, and he's visiting his mother's grave, and he's discussing the Justice League and calling them weak-willed gods. He then goes on to talk about Amanda Waller and the lost prisoners, and the fact that he's going to complete what she wanted. And he says, I plucked them all for you, Mom, and soon one man who's truly worthy of the power will be in total and absolute control. So this is actually a prelude into Justice League versus Suicide Squad. This takes place right before the first issue, where Maxwell Lord breaks out all of his team. And I gotta tell you, I really loved it. I loved the art. I thought the writing, this was the best written Justice League book we've gotten throughout all of Rebirth. And that's probably because it's coming from Tim Seeley. Tim Seeley is an amazing writer. Check out a number of his books. He's fantastic. Glorious work. The art style was great. I loved the cover. I love the fact that he's got a bloody nose in the cover, which there was this great thing with his mom talking about how he always freaked out and he had a bloody nose at the funeral. Whenever he got really worried or really concerned or weak-willed, then he would get a little bit of a bloody nose. So I thought this was a great book. I thought it was fantastic. If you did not pick this book up, I definitely suggest going back to go get it in your local comic book shop if you can. I thought it was amazing. Just a great book. Give me a like if you like this video. Comment below and tell me if you enjoyed this book as much as I did. Are you enjoying Justice League versus Suicide Squad storyline as much as I am? Subscribe to my channel for more comic book content, or check out any of my older videos I have up for offer here on Cat Run Figures. And until next time, I'm your host, Caitlin. Bye.